do you reset yourself every day? Because every day is an opportunity to start choosing how much you want to align with your true desires, with your true self. And if you're somebody like me who has more of a challenge in the morning than you do at night, then it can be really relevant and helpful to have a certain process in the morning, and ideally as short as possible, so that you can get on with the day instead of moving into any kind of rumination or the kind of old stuff from the previous day or the previous weeks. And so resetting the day can simply look like making a decision that you're going to focus on your higher vision first thing. Even if that just means like reading, something you've written down, whether, you've written your mission down, your vision down, your desires down. It can be a couple of sentences, can be a few words, can even be an image, because sometimes, pictures do speak so much louder than words and say and convey so much more. And so just looking at that picture can just, get the juices flowing, can get you imagining, not only thinking, but imagining, like seeing in your mind's eye the kinds of things that you want to be experiencing. And so using this as a simple trick to basically align and set yourself up for that day with that first idea, that first energy of the day. And then, you can go about it and start seeing incrementally how different you feel each day. Or maybe you start making new choices in the mornings. Or maybe, you end up feeling like you can totally take a bold action that you've been putting off. You're going to find when you do this steadily, and as I said, just in a small way, because sometimes when we have kind of too big expectations of ourselves, oh, I'm going to start my morning like this, and we have this like elaborate plan for it, it doesn't get done. Because I can attest to that I've written ideas down over the years, like, oh, this sounds so good. I watched a video, I listened to a podcast or something, and it sounds all fabulous. But when it came down to it, I just don't operate in that robotic way, because that's how it felt, right? But what I can do is I can implement little pieces of things and just begin kind of testing them out to see how I feel. And that ends up being much more playful and much more fun, less onerous, less heavy, less this feeling of, oh my God, I'm going to do it wrong, I'm going to fail. And because, we need energy in the day for other things. We can't just be sitting there doing all of this, so-called inner work and manifesting and all of this stuff that just sometimes can feel like a job in itself when you approach it in that kind of heavy-handed way. So instead, doing it in these small increments and just kind of as experiment, like how is this? And I found that when I began doing that, it really helped. And then it just became like normal for me. It became normal for me to kind of ask myself, hey, what would I like to think this morning? Where would I like to put my attention? You know what? What I'm thinking about just isn't fun, right? It isn't healthy. It isn't useful. It isn't something I actually desire. And so I can reset myself in the morning by the simple addition of that image, of a few words, maybe a paragraph, maybe speaking out loud to myself, like whatever it is that really gets much more energy moving in me, rather than some kind of, again, too methodical approach that someone like me will end up in my mind, right? Most people do, and they think that's okay or that's normal. But whenever we're in the mind, we're not actually embodied. We're not embodied in our higher vision. We're not embodied in the truth of like how we want to express ourselves and who we are. And so a lot of the things that I like to guide people are things that you can, again, that just feel natural to you and can become natural rather than something you have to think about. Because thinking takes a lot of energy, and it's important to only use it when we actually need it for certain things. Because even the most bold ideas don't necessarily require any thought as we know thought to be. They are more of a knowing often. Something we get a download, we get this idea suddenly, we get a breakthrough, we have this sudden shift inside of us, maybe a shift of state or feeling or a memory or a dream or something that kind of pops in. And then suddenly we know our next step. We know that bold action, and there's no hesitation in taking it. That's not thought. That's not thinking at all. Now you can imagine things like this for a while. You can practice. You can speak these things out loud. You can write them to kind of really feed that vision in a way so that becomes part of it. But most often I find those really pivotal moments, they come as knowings, and they come when we are quiet, when we are relaxed, when we are not in thought. We're not thinking as a doing thing. It drops into us. We suddenly decide, we suddenly feel, we suddenly choose, and then we act on it. And it can just seem like timeless, like just this moment where suddenly the clouds part for us, and we just take action. And the more we go into these states of embodiment instead of thought, the more that it feels like life happens for us, and it's just like serving us day in and day out. And we begin to appreciate it and have fun and play with it much more. So reset your day. Find a way that works for you. And if it doesn't work right away, don't sweat it. It's okay. This isn't a test. This is something that's supposed to aid you, right? Like, I know, like, and then you can combine it with something you actually enjoy. Like for me, the ritual of morning breakfast is one of my favorite things. It's just I know exactly what I'm going to have, and it's been like that for a very long time, and it still makes me super happy. So that's something I enjoy. I look forward to, because it's just, I don't know, it's just me. It's simple. I don't have to think about it. It's something I savor. And so we can sometimes add a piece, like, for example, putting a picture up and that image of something that represents your higher vision, and representative. It doesn't have to be like a whole vision board, right? But just a picture. It can even be like a comic or a joke that makes you laugh, but something that really activates an aliveness in you, that reminds you of the present moment and the power of the present moment. And you can put it up, like, say, if I had a breakfast nook or something, right? The place I have my breakfast, I call it my sunroom. And so I can place it right there. And it's just a joy to start the day. I can put it in the washroom on the mirror every morning so that I have something to look at, that reminds me when I'm up and about where I want to give my attention, and where my energy is moving, where I'm directing, well, first harnessing and then directing my energy. And then I don't have to think about it. It just becomes like it becomes an imprint in the mind, a visual for us to take with us throughout the day. And then we may just have these synchronicities start happening. So I love playful ways we can do this, because the more playful it is, the more engaged we actually are in life. And as I said, we're not like making everything a to-do list and an activity and a task, and then, having to assess ourselves. Oh, I succeeded and I failed. All of that is really exhausting and draining. So find a way to reset your day every morning and see what that is. It doesn't mean you have to be all excited and bubbly every day. It just means that you know where you're going. And even if there's a dip or there's a downtime, still you're moving in that trajectory. You know where you're going, and you're committed to it, and you're going to stay with it, and it's going to show up for you. So I hope that's been helpful. It's giving you some food for thought that you can put into action right now and find that image, find that idea, find those words that you want to be reminded of every morning that are alive for you, not for anyone else, not something that somebody else said, but something that's alive for you personally and that you can feel and you can really sense, And share in the comments if you want to. Let us know how that's going for you and what's shifted by doing that, even for a few days in a row.